Welcome to the Cave Boys Fantasy Football Chat. Here I'm joined with Bobcat, Warmaster Kalai, and Fuzzy Frank,
Trade
and
swindler.
Trade Swindler, and Burg for sound effects. Burg, hit us with a sound effect. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Fuzz is going to start us off with.
The best ball team has to go to CNELS 95 because he started with the steal of the draft, JJ. And insider information, he did his research and said teams that take elite quarterbacks have higher win rates. So he went into Jalen Hurts, which I like. So weird being recorded. And then I love Najee. Ridley. Like Moore. Like the receivers. Pacheco's a little sussy. I don't really like Pacheco. But his first 5 drafts, super solid. Penny, that's a homer pick. He loves his Penny.
Oh yeah. I like the penny pick.
It's a
I just
solid pick.
I feel like Swift's gonna be the guy there. Who got Swift? Ooh, that was Zane. But
All right,
everything's
I'll go
fine.
into my best ball draft. For me, it's Kevin Bakes.
Oh,
Ooh, that's
I
a surprise.
I like his first 4 picks. Really solid. The Henry at 2.9, assuming Henry stays healthy and does what Henry does. He's got the solid QB and Josh Allen. Uh, Damian Pierce, if he continues to have good production. Then, we don't know about JSN, but we do know that he put up over 300 yards in a game before in college, so he probably has that upside for best ball. And who else? McKinnon on anyone on Kansas City can have a huge performance. Sky Moore as well. And then he's got Jamal Williams, who had 17 touchdowns last year.
he will regress.
He will most likely regress, but and then we got 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers when Josh Allen is slacking a little bit. So yeah, that's my pick.
For me, I think there's one clear winner in
Oh,
this draft,
it's your turn.
and it is the Burg team.
Oh,
I thought about it and I said, there is one team that, if it's not my team, this is clearly the best. I mean, he starts out with Cooper Kupp at the 107. Solid pick. Then you got Josh Jacobs, ETN, solid running backs. He is Justin Fields, who I think is going to do real well this year.
a bear.
Of course, Bears all day, every day. And then he has Judy and Dotson in there, and Goddard, and then Tua. Like, he has just such a solid foundation. And what, for me, really set his team apart was those late round receivers, where you have Van Jefferson, Wandale, who I think could have some big games and really make a difference for a best ball team. So that's my pick easily.
I like
Yeah.
Back to Fuzz.
Gotta go to my notes.
Oh man.
Should I give my
Notes.
quick team really quick? Who I thought maybe had the best? Just real quick.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
I was actually thinking I didn't have time to look at it as much as you guys did, but during the draft, I actually thought Fuzzy had the best team.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Oh.
That wide receiver crew is like pretty juicy, and he's got McCaffrey leading the running backs. He's got Mark Andrews at tight end, and good QB squad. So I think he's got a pretty good team there.
The upside of AR. Then the floor of like Daniel Jones, Stafford.
Right.
I like it.
Jones is a floor play.
I think it's a solid team. You got Foreman in there on the Bears.
I got my one bear in there.
Yeah, you gotta have one at least.
Who's Kelp's favorite team? As in-
I haven't thought about it too much. I did like Zane's team, just Lamb and AJ Brown at the turn.
it's solid.
And I thought he got Akers pretty late, which is cool.
Yeah.
That was just something that caught my eye.
Yeah, he got Akers right before I could.
All right, we gotta get into it. What is your least favorite team?
Oh man.
Oh man.
Sorry, boys. Don't refuse to trade with me because I pooped on your team. But I don't know. I was looking. Jai's team. I don't know. It's like Wilson and Olave, I think of as two kind of question marks. Like, not my favorite. Also, I like Tim's like kind of back half of the draft, but Mahomes at 1-9. Mikey, do not like me. Probably get him at 2-4.
Mm-hmm.
What else is a stinker team? Also, I think. Sorry, Poo-Poo. You know I gotta do it to you. No, I gotta do it to you, Poo-Poo. But having Russ as your RB QB1, and then going into Love and Lance, I might have to go Poo-Poo on this one. Sorry,
Boom.
Poo-Poo.
Roasted.
Just Hollywood, Debo, Gabe. I love the RBs, but those quarterbacks are so smelly. And he didn't take Zeke, so his team was great.
That's true.
That's my pick.
All right. Yeah, for me it's kind of close between Bobcat's team
Whoa.
and Hubs. But I think Hubs takes it for me. I only have Bobcat's team in there because he did take Hopkins and Dalvin Cook, who are big question marks, and they could turn out to be good, but depending on their landing spot.
Don't forget about Kareem Hunt in the end.
I mean, yeah, that is true as well. You know, I'm looking at Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson on Miami, and then I'm looking at A-Chain, who I drafted on Miami, and I don't know the upside on them, but yeah. So, but Hubs is the worst team for me because he has a very running back heavy. But his wide receivers are a little thin. His quarterbacks are a little thin. His tight ends are a little thin as well. I mean, he has Kittle, but
Stone Cold Kittle.
Also, Russell Wilson and Trey Lance have the same bye week. So if Jordan Love is I don't know, feeling sick to his stomach on week 9, there's no quarterback there, so yeah. But yeah, I like the upside of Gabe Davis though, but just overall, the core receivers is a little weak, I think. So yeah, that takes it from me.
So for me, clearly my team is not the worst. But I think we have a consensus here because Hubs, I feel like, has the worst team. I mean, when you wait till was that the 12th round, 11th round to get a quarterback?
But you got Danger Russ.
You got Russ, but it's questionable to see how he does this year. I mean, he has good running backs, but like his receivers are a little sus. And so I think if he has any injuries at the receiver position, or if Kittle goes down, like it's just going to be over for him. So definitely Hunter. I don't think there's any question, at least in my mind.
Love you, Poo-Poo.
It's all in good fun.
Oh, it's
true.
It's not fun.
It's the truth.
I thought it was a really good draft overall, though.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised that everyone showed up.
That's the real miracle here.
Uh, yeah, it went great. There were only, I think, I remember at least 2 auto drafts, but maybe there was only 2.
I think it was 2 from Narwhals, which is I'm not surprised.
Typical. Yeah. No one's surprised.
Yeah,
And then maybe Kevin had 1.
I think
No.
it was at least 1 from Narwhals, and yeah, I think Kevin had 1. So it's either
Kevin-
1 or 2 for Narwhals and 1 for Kevin.
Kevin probably had a poop halfway through, so
Yeah, that's fair.
So true.
I have a completely different take. I
Oh.
kind of like the poo poo team. I think there's a lot of upside. I still am a fan of Debo, Eckler. I think these players can really pop off. The team,
Pop-
the team,
Oh,
the crickets.
Look, I like the running backs. Eckler's great.
Yeah.
There's only 2 running back slots, and then there's the flex.
Oh, there's
So
only
you-
one
you know-
flex, right?
There's only
Yeah,
1 flex. So
there's
you got
only one.
Eckler.
Yeah,
so you
that's.
probably
I
got
forgot about that as well.
Eckler, Pollard, Stevenson are going to be, the top 3 picks there, and they're probably going to be plugging those positions. So you got Samuel, Hollywood, and Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis.
And so it's going to be between like Davis and Cooks probably, who's getting more, and then it's always going to be Samuel and Hollywood probably, unless Dubs has a big week. And if there's any injuries, I think Kat was talking about the injury. It could get really thin really quick. So
That's true. My least favorite draft is still the Jai draft. I agree with Fuzz that the receivers are too young. All his receivers, his elite receivers, are first or second year. It's Traylon Burks, Quentin Johnson.
It's a dynasty draft. He had dynasty brain
draft.
during this.
That-
Yeah,
that is true.
very much a dynasty draft.
And Waller, I don't know. He could be good, and I think Trevor Lawrence is slightly overrated this year. I would
I'd
have
rather
rather.
fire move than Waller.
I'd rather have a later QB than Lawrence. That's just my take.
yeah,
Oh, you're
looking
trying to
at
trade?
it,
You trying to trade Waller?
yeah, looking at the Jai team, it is very much dynasty-esque.
I like old players in best ball. That's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
I,
want the
I
oldies.
think I'd probably put it in a bottom 3 for me.
Yeah, but I still think Hubs is the worst.
I'm ready for Giant Hubs to prove us all wrong at the end of the year.
It's gonna be sad when Poopa wins it all, and he'll have this clip. He'll have this clip and be like,
He's
It's
gonna
all
have the
hated me.
bragging rights for a long time.
"Oh,
I actually
Good thing
like the
that'll
dry
never
draft. I'll just throw that out there.
Oh,
Do you have a least favorite draft, Berg?
Oh, it was Hubs.
that was so quick. That was a frame 1 punish.
You guys already said everything. So I don't have any more to add.
Frame 1 punish on that.
All right, let's move on. I think instead of talking about the best picks in each round, it'd be best to talk about the best pick in the later rounds, starting with round 10.
Okay.
So you guys can glance at round 10 and give your best pick for that.
Okay.
Best pick round 10. I think. Is it just 10 on or?
We can do round by round, or we can do it however you guys like.
yeah, let's
I'll
do
just
round by
take-
round.
I think I'll just do 3 of like the
Sure.
best 10. Maybe I'm biased because I swooped him from Kelp, but I like Elijah Moore in the 10th
I knew you were
round.
gonna say that.
I love Elijah Moore. I'm chasing those 6 weeks from 2 years ago, but I like Moore. I
More
think
solid.
I hate Odell. I'm just gonna say that. It's not even my favorite. Odell pick is trash. Poopy.
Yeah, I don't see much upside with
Or
Odell.
Kelp. Sorry, Kelp. It's Odell, 31-year-old Odell coming off 2 ACL injuries. I wouldn't take him over Kareem Hunt. I don't want
Wait,
to.
I'm not seeing Odell in the 10th.
Oh, he's in the 12th. I'm just doing
Oh, he's in the 12th.
just
Okay.
3 later round picks.
I was gonna take Elijah Moore, but Narwhal sniped him, so I was sad about it.
I also
Yeah, it was between Jameson, Williams, and Elijah Moore for me. I felt like the boom potential for Jameson was a little higher. That's why I went with them.
He's
William-
suspended like 6 games, right?
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
I'd probably rather have Sutton than Williams, and that sounds stinky to say, but I also like
Fair.
Zeke. I like Zeke
Oh yeah.
late round, even though he's hated.
Zeke. Yeah, he's 14-11. Yeah, if he goes, if he goes to a good situation where they feed him the ball, he could be a
Yeah,
could be
get some
a
TDs.
high-end RB2, possibly even a low-end RB1 if he really has that volume. Probably unlikely though.
Yeah, I think, like we've said, Elijah Moore, I feel like, was a very good pick by Narwhals there in the 10th. But I also think Burg with getting Bateman in the 11th round
Yeah, I like
was a
Bateman.
really
Yeah, I
good
like
pick.
Bateman a lot as well.
Because Bateman has that boom potential too.
Mhm.
Like even if he
Yeah.
only has 4 good weeks this year, he's probably gonna get you like 20 points in each week. I also like Tank Bigsby. Give Poo-Poo some love. I like Tank a lot because I've heard that ETN might not get very many goal line carries this year. So if Bigsby's in a good offense and gets like all the goal line carries, it's
Yeah, that
pretty
could
good to see.
get maybe double-digit TDs
Oh, but that's my
if
pick.
he's getting fed.
I hate Odell. If you take Odell, I will poop on you. Do not take Odell ever. And then I like Bigsby more, and I kind of like Sutton too. Everybody hates on Sutton, but I kind of like Sutton as well.
I like the Rashid Shaheed pick. I'm a bit biased because I have him in Dynasty from Zane, but I picked him up because he had 2 big games for the number of touches he got. It's like 1 catch for like 70 yards and a TD, and then like a rush for 50 yards and a TD, and a catch for like 40 yards or something
Yeah, it's a good
in the
pick.
next game. So I think he can definitely be a boom player.
Yeah, I think Kelp had a couple of really good picks towards the end of the draft with Elijah Mitchell and Adam Thielen. Both players that I have on my dynasty team, by the way.
This dynasty bias. Oh, this dynasty bias.
But I like Elijah Mitchell because McCaffrey has had injury problems in the past, and
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
if anything ever happens, Elijah Mitchell will come in and be
Play-
real good.
Play good for one game and then get hurt.
And then Thielen, I think he's been the lead so long. He's a seasoned veteran, and he knows how to get it done, even if it doesn't look good.
I do kind of like Thielen.
He's been shown that he can put up the pretty solid like low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 numbers probably.
Which in the 12th round, that's great. End of the 12th.
Yeah, you're not chasing a lot of upside there, but it's solid.
Mm-hmm.
Seasoned vet.
Oh
Upside for Bobcat's last pick, Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
And when Nick Chubb was injured, Kareem could take over games. Got those good hands. He gets a decent landing spot. He could take over.
I wonder where he's gonna go.
Yeah. There's a lot of running backs right now that don't have homes yet.
And I got them all, except for
You
Fournette
have a lot
and
of
Zeke.
them.
Bobby is the homeless squad.
Yeah.
No, they're the free agents. Another pick, though, was one that War Master Fly had. Took him right before me, and that's Taysom Hill.
Oh yeah.
In the 15th.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, I like the upside of Taysom Hill because we all remember the Seattle game where he got 30 points.
Yeah, if Taysom gives you 2 good weeks, you're happy.
Yeah. Yep. It's like the upside. Because
Yeah,
he's not
for sure.
really a tight end. The fake tight end.
He's better.
What's next on the agenda?
Let's go to the dynasty. Unless Burg, you have any thoughts for late round value?
Oh, go ahead. No.
All right.
Is this overrated top 10? Keep your
Yep.
cut.
Give your overrated top 10 player. Go ahead, Fuzz.
Overrated. Probably, I might go a little package. That's what I like doing, a little package deal. I think I'd go Wilson and Brees Hall. Just because I think Brees Hall with the injury kind of scares me. And then Wilson, I feel like it's like you're more projecting that he's going to be good. And who knows how long Rodgers will be there. Like Garrett Wilson he's going to be insane for like 2 years, but once Rodgers retires and you're back to Zach Wilson, it's kind of like here we go again. Kind of like the proven like Lamb, Brown, Waddle. It's like they're in good situations, so I like all those players more than Wilson. Just because Wilson, he's gonna be good for a couple years with Rodgers, but if Rodgers declines and then once they get a new quarterback, it's gonna be a rip. So I'd probably go Garrett Wilson, just because he's like number 5.
Yeah.
On the list.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
All right. My pick would be Bijan.
Oh,
Mm,
Wow.
I
agree.
think Bijan's gonna be really good, but I think the 93-90 rating that KTC has for him is maybe a little high. I think he could get there once the team gets a little better, but I think right now he's gonna be running back 1, but not the running back 1, and I feel like this is kind of he's kind of rated where like he should have like a top 3 finish, but I think he'll have a mid, like a number 6 to number 9 ish finish for this season. I just think he's a little bit overrated, but it is tough because I like all the players in the top 10.
Yeah, I think all of these players are amazing in the top 10. But if I was to have to say a couple that I think are overrated, would be Bijan as well. I just don't think that he is as high as he should be going right now. And the other one I would have to say is Jalen Waddle, because he is still behind Tyreek Hill. As good as he is, he's still the wide receiver 2 on that team. So I think he's good, but top 10, maybe not. And Bijan, I think he's going to do really well. But at the end of the day, he is on the Falcons. And that team hasn't known how to utilize their offensive weapons so far. So that's my take.
Cool. All right, let's jump into underrated player between 11 and 20.
my pick for underrated players is Devonta Smith. I think I think he's because he's only like a year and a half older. I think he should be rated like higher than Olave. Just because people over talk about like, oh, he's the wide receiver 2 on the team and he doesn't get all the targets, but that doesn't really matter. You see, like last year, like Waddle and Tyreek had good seasons. Chase and Higgins had good seasons. Even when Lamb and Cooper together, they had good seasons. Lockett, Metcalf had good seasons. So people always get too worked up about he's the wide receiver 2 on the team, but Smith is just as talented as any other wide receiver 1. So I'd say Devonta Smith is underrated. I'd rather have him than Gibbs or Olave.
I think for me, the most underrated player in this group is T. Higgins. I know he's the wide receiver 2 on the Bengals, but I think he has the talent. If he got traded, he could become the 1 on a lot of other teams. And I think the potential for trade is, I don't think he has signed his big contract yet, so whether or not they stay with him or trade him, if they trade him, he could rise in the rankings quite a bit, I think. So that's my player.
So for me, I do think that Devontae Smith is very good as well. Like, even though he is the wide receiver 2 on that team, I think he has a very good future. But my pick for most underrated player would have to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is the number 1 receiver on that team. No one is going to take that from him. He's played real well. He's still very young, and I think he can really take it and go super far with the Lions, even though it is the Lions.
Well,
That's-
don't slander Goof.
I would never.
Good.
Back
Alright,
to Fuzz.
cool. Alright, next is your best future player in 21 through 30. Who would you want on your team for the future?
Future, I would take Drake London over any of these other players. His target share was super high last year. He had 800 yards as a rookie. It was like if you have more than 500 yards as a rookie, it's like a super good sign. Rip Traylon Burks, but
He did get injured and was dealing with some
Yeah.
asthma stuff too, I think.
True.
I like Drake London a lot because like he had Marcus Mariota, who's dog water as a quarterback, and he had a super good week 18, which a lot of people don't know because it's like nobody plays week 18.
What kind of points did he put up?
I think he had like 100-something yards and a tutty or like 10
Nice.
targets with Ritter. And I think with all the people are like, oh, Robinson's going to take targets, all that stuff. If you're elite, you're going to get targets.
Exactly.
So I think Drake London is who I'd want of all these people for the future.
Cool. For me, it's close between JSN and Kyle Pitts. I have Kyle Pitts in Dynasty. I think he has the potential to be the tight end 1 in the future if he can stay healthy and if he's in a better quarterback situation. Based on the metrics that I've seen last year, he had a very high amount of uncatchable balls thrown his way, and he was efficient in most of the things that he did. He just really didn't have the opportunity to shine. He also dealt with a little injury as well. Then I think JSN, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave said that he was the best of the 3 when they were all in college during an interview. So I think he has a really high potential. So those are my picks.
Yeah, for me, I think it's very clearly JSN. I think he has the potential to be the best out of all these players a couple years down the line. He's coming into Seattle where he's going to be that slot receiver. But I also think that, as much as we'd love to see Tyler Lockett continue to play year after year after year, I do think that after he finishes this contract, I don't know that he gets another. So I think JSN could fit into that really well. Because right now you have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both doing really well for the Seahawks. So I think JSN doesn't have to overproduce right away, but is able to learn everything he needs to learn and really go and move forward and be the best player he can be. And then when the time is right, he's going to just excel far and above everyone else.
Cool. Alright, next section. Your best win now player between rank 31 and 40.
Mine would be. There's only one player here. If Cly or Cat say anything else, they don't know what they're talking about. It's Travis Kelce.
Yeah, that was my pick.
Not mine.
Oh.
my god! Oh my god! I'd pick Kelce. It's kind of an easy pick. If it wasn't Kelce, I would say Cooper Kupp. I think he's super underrated. I tried getting him from Connor, but he held tight. Sadly, I think he's super underrated. If if you're in a dynasty league and somebody's down on him, swoop him up. If they're willing to trade him, because I think Cup is going to rebound and be like a top 5 receiver. So I'd say Kels, but I'd also say Cup.
Yeah, I would also go Kels because he's just consistently the number 1 tight end. Puts up huge game, puts up huge points in his games. So many weeks, league winner. Until he falls off, which who knows when. If I had to go for a second one, it would be between Cup and Diggs. Probably Cup. He had that triple crown. Most receiving yards, most catches, most touchdowns, I think. Before he got injured. And yeah, Diggs is just really solid on the Bills as well. But so I would go Kels, then Cup, then Diggs.
So for me, it's very clearly Cooper Kupp. I think this year he just completely has an amazing season. I think he's going to be the best receiver in the league. As much as we want to say it's going to be JJ, and JJ is amazing, but I think Cooper Kupp has the ability to go back to exactly where he was a couple years ago when Stafford first came there. And I just, for any player to win right now, I would have to say Cooper Kupp
Over Kels?
over Kels.
I like that's a hot take. I like
It's
it.
spicy.
That's what I'm here for.
Careful though.
Oh
it's
yeah.
spicy.
Oh, there it is.
It's spicy.
All right, up next
Yikes.
we've got some controversial trades.
Oh,
Not actually
no.
controversial, just the latest big trades that we've had. in the
Are we-
league.
Are we talking about your trade with for CD Kelp?
No. Hey, no, these are
Not that
just the,
controversial.
Leave my boy alone.
these are just the most recent trades.
Oh,
We
okay.
can talk about archived trades in another episode, but these are just 3 big trades that have happened lately.
All right.
And here we got one between Fuzz and Narwhals. And,
I'll let Clyde. I'll let you all chime in because I'm gonna be biased. So you guys all chime
Yeah,
in.
I'll go first. I mean, I have the rebuilding team right now, or just building to, like I'm not
Retooling.
retooling. I could compete this year, but I'm deciding to continue to do that. So I would rather be on the side of like the narwhals with the picks and stuff, in general, like for my team, but I don't really like it for narwhals. I think I'm not a huge Najee fan, but I think I'd rather have Najee in this because he's 25, Aaron Jones is 28. The Burg 2024 is probably going to be a 211 or 212.
Oh, it's the 2-1. 2-1.
The 201. Oh yeah.
that's trash talk.
We'll see about that.
I'm kidding. It's like the 212.
That he would need like his whole roster injured or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Drop all his players.
Yeah, Burg is a very scary team in Dynasty this year. And then the Fuzzy 2025 third, I think that's going to be a late third as well because Fuzzy's team's looking quite dominant, and it probably still will be.
Dangerous.
Dangerous, yeah. So the picks are fairly low value. Aaron Jones, he's on a Green Bay offense that just lost Aaron Rodgers. Who knows how it's gonna work, if they're gonna feed him. I'd rather have Najee. So I would say that Fuzz won the trade in my eyes.
So for me, I would rather have Aaron Jones this year than Najee, but because we are talking about Dynasty, I think Najee has overall a better long term. I think these next couple years, Aaron Jones could be something really special. And so I think for Narwhals, this is a good move for this year and next year. But past that, I do think that he's not going to get a ton more out of him. So I do think that it's better for Fuzz because, like, War Masterclass said, these two picks aren't. They're going to be a late second and a late third. Not a ton of value there. So it's Najee for Aaron Jones plus a little. So I'd definitely say Fuzzy won that one.
So, Kat, you're not concerned about Aaron Jones' usage in the Jordan Love-led offense?
Not at all.
With
Okay.
AJ Dillon is there as well.
Yeah, Dylan is there too.
But I do believe it's AJ Dillon's contract year. So he might not be back after this year.
Right, but that might means they might feed
Aaron
him
Jones.
more.
Aaron Jones might not be back after this year. All right.
I
Yeah.
think he will. Hot take.
All right, let's have the bias man himself chime in. Fuzz.
Yeah, we need it.
The bias man.
The swindler himself.
Oh, thank
Wait,
you.
The
Thank you.
swindler.
So I look at it. It's gonna destroy my future trades, but I think for Narwhals, I think what's fundamentally bad with this trade is I don't think the package is that bad. Like Aaron Jones is older, but he took steroids in the past, and his usage rate has been super low. So he's gonna age better than most running backs because he's a good receiver. He's never had more than like maybe 300 touches. Like they committee him so much. I think he'll age fine. I could see him,
That's a good point.
and I could see him having a similar season to Najee. But also, I could see him having similar seasons. But I think long term, I do like Najee because he's younger. But Najee's also high mileage. I just think what's bad with this trade for Narwhals is he should have tried to trade Najee for a good receiver. Like if he would have gotten like a DJ Moore or like a Judy or McLaurin or somebody like that, even if somebody you can go younger, I think that's what he should have done. I think that's what makes this trade bad. It's just like trading a running back for another running back when you're trying to rebuild. I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, I'll say one
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, we talked about the picks. If they were like an early second, early third, I'd probably pat Narwhals on the back, be like, you did all right. But otherwise, I think you guys covered it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's still time for Narwhals to flip Aaron Jones, but that might be a 1-year window.
Hmm.
But if he does turn Aaron Jones into something young, then I think he could really get value out of the trade.
Yeah, if he turns Aaron Jones into a receiver, I think it's like decent value. I'd rather just have Najee for just like one receiver, like good young receiver straight up.
Yeah.
Like Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, like it. Like
Oh yeah.
like if Kawhi was trying to win now and he had stacked receivers and you could have gotten like Najee for John Dotson, I think that's like a win-win for both.
Yeah.
That's what I would have liked. Or even if like you trade Najee for like a Quentin Johnson before the draft or something like that. But I think that's why the trade's better. I think you got a decent like package for Najee, but I would have liked if he would have gotten a receiver.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on to the next trade. It's between Burg and Tim.
Well, Burg won this trade.
Why?
I mean, he traded a late second and 2 late thirds for Dalvin Cook.
I
I
think
still-
it's. Oh,
I still believe that Dalvin Cook's going to go somewhere good and have a good amount left in his tank.
yeah. I like this trade for both sides because he's got the upside of Cook going to a good situation, and then it just strengthens Berg's team, and it's safer for Tim because Tim's team is in a building stage, I would say, and having extra picks is just gonna give him more chances at strengthening his team. And then
James
what was it?
I mean, he'd use those picks for a better running back, James Conner.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So with Dalvin Cook, it's a question mark, and I mean the picks are question marks too. But I like the trade for both sides.
Yeah, I think it's good for both. I think my hot take, I would have liked if Burg already has so many stud running backs. If Burg would have thrown this package and tried to get a receiver, I probably would have liked it a little more, or like package those picks one of his quarterbacks for receivers. But that's micromanaging another team. But that's
Whoa.
my only thing. If you use those picks, get a receiver because you have so many stud receivers. But I think it's a fair trade. I think it's good for both. You can never go wrong with running back depth at the end of the day.
That's true.
Berg, you have a counter? Need a biased counter.
No, I don't have any comment. You guys covered it.
Berg agrees. Could go either way. All right,
It's a good trade.
we got one more trade.
Oh no.
Oh, this is the best one right here.
Oh no.
Oh wow. Hmm.
We'll let Kawhi start.
Okay. Yeah. So the 2025 first, cat first for Pete.
Late first.
It's possible it's a late first, but I would say that there's a decent chance that it's a high first.
I wouldn't.
I know you wouldn't, but based
Bobby,
on
you hear that, Bobby? You hear
They-
that, Bobby?
Slander.
based on the calculations that I've ran, that's a pretty good first. You know, the cat picks are coveted. And
Slanderer. Change Kawhi's name to the Slanderer.
Seriously, come on.
it's a traded to Cat. Cat acquired a 2023 first from Fuzz, 2024 second from Pete, and then 2023 fifth from Fuzz. So that's basically nothing there for the fifth. But the 2023 first is probably going to be a late first. I mean, it was the 1.12.
It was.
Yeah.
That was
Sorry.
A-Chain.
That
My
was
bad.
Devon
I-
A-Chain.
Yeah. So it was the 112 A-Chain. And then the 2024 second is going to probably be the 201, if I had to guess, because I think Pete is tanking.
Sandbagger. Coward.
So yeah, I like this. I like this trade for both sides. Cat gets a lot of value off of it, and Pete has the potential to get a really high first round pick. But if Cat proves him wrong and proves me wrong, and
As I
ends up
will.
killing it, if he makes playoffs and goes on a tear, then Pete is gonna be very sad. So yeah, I think Cat is like already. It's safer for Cat, while with Pete it's more up in the air, depending on how Cat plays.
Yeah,
That's
because
my
that
take on it.
Bobcat first is 2 years away, right? So
Yeah, it's not next year.
Jai's taking a risk.
I think-
What's everyone's initial guess? What that pick will be? Just like, what's your guess?
Yeah, let me hear your guesses.
I'd say it's like the 1415.
Yeah, I'd go 1-3 or 1-4.
I was thinking like
I-
1-5, something like that.
I am 90% sure I'm going to make playoffs that year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't know where.
I-
Yeah.
well, it's hard to say. Cat's team is very top heavy with AJ Brown and CMC. So I think that this year Cat has a potential for like a top 4 placements.
I
But
think Bobby's team is good this year.
a year or two from now, he could
that's
be
the year
bottom
after.
6. Yeah, I know, but what
Unless
if
you
this is
trade
CMC's last good
CMC.
year? Or what if AJ Brown
Yeah.
gets hurt? AJ Brown would probably be good in 2 years, but CMC, I don't know.
Yeah, because Cat, you might trade CMC for value before he loses value by getting hurt or retiring. Or
Bobby will never trade CMC.
Yeah.
CMC stays with me till I die.
all right, should
It'll
have
be-
thought that one through.
It's a 104 now.
But-
It's a 104 now.
But also, for clarification, that 5th round pick was Darius Davis, the 4th round wide receiver pick for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay, yeah. When I was looking
And-
at it, I was forgetting that the 2023 draft already happened. So
Yeah.
I was just
He's,
going
he's,
off
he's
of
already
it, like,
cashed out on that. Already
Yeah.
cashed
Yeah.
out.
Darius Davis was that was the scale tipper. That tipped
Yeah.
the scale.
But I mean,
Takes one
when
grain
you
of
look
rice.
at it, I'm trading the last pick in the first round and the first pick in the second round for a first round pick that is yet to be determined.
Yeah, I think this
Yeah.
can
I
totally go
think-
either way.
Yeah.
I think I don't think I go below the 105 for what that pick is.
I think
Yeah.
the trade is. I think you got a bunch of value with the trade. I just think. I think you could have used that 2025 first or something else, like get a proven asset. Like Hunter got Hawkinson from Cly for 2025 first. I know Cly. You know his slander. He loves your first round picks. You know the slanderer loves his Bobby first. So I think you could have gotten like a Jahan or like even if you would have packaged your first, just throwing them at Clyde, see what you could have gotten. I just think people value your first high, so you could have gotten something else. Because like I like A Chain, but I don't even think he's on your roster. And
Well, yeah, but that's just for this year.
yeah.
No,
I
but
think you could have
starting
gotten
roster.
like a more like stud asset, but I think you got a bunch of value. So it just kind of depends if you like the packages. You know, Kelp loves a good package, or do you want that one elite player? I think
Yeah.
it's just like it's your philosophy
Yeah.
on Dynasty.
Which the
Also,
fact
this
that
But you got a bunch of value. I know,
Yeah.
like the calculator is gonna say you got a bunch of value. So
yeah, Cat wins in value. It's Jai or Pete is playing the more of a gamble on having it be a high pick, and then the strength of the draft matters a lot as well, because if it's a very like top heavy draft and it's an early pick, it might be really good, but if it's not very top heavy, where the 104, 105, 106, let's say, are all kind of the same, like maybe for this year's draft, people had Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, and Jordan Addison all at the same tier. Most people probably didn't, but if some people did, then it wouldn't really matter if you got like the 104, 105, 106. While if you had like, if it was more top heavy, where like say Jordan Addison was looked at like much higher than Quentin Johnston and Zay Flowers, then that 104 matters a lot more. So.
Yeah, I'll say one thing too. Fuzz, Bobcat got that second round pick. That's gonna be about a 201 most likely, right?
for next year.
Yeah, that's
It
gonna
should
good.
be
Yeah.
unless someone tanks harder than Pete Rock.
oh no,
There's
no,
no way.
There's
that's
no way.
half
No
the
way.
reason. That's half the reason. Auto draft did this trade is because he wants to torpedo his points this year. So you're just mortgaging all
Yeah.
your points because like he doesn't want A-Chain on his team because that gives him points. He doesn't want like he's basically just punting points for his perceived that slanderer. Bobby, remember, he's a slanderer for a perceived early 2025 first. So
Yeah.
I like the trade overall. It's interesting. I think there's
no, it's
good,
definitely
good reasons for both of
yeah.
them.
it's a fair trade. Bobby definitely got a bunch of value. The value.
Hey, look, in my defense, I have an idea of what people's picks are gonna be, and maybe I speak it out. I remember this year, early in this year, I said that Narwhals was gonna have an early pick, and he had the 103, so I was right there.
Rip Narwhals.
I'm sorry, Narwhals, I love you.
Poor Narwhal just thrown under the bus. Poor Narwhal.
Use this as an example.
ah.
All right, last topic. If people want to disclose this is an optional. Your biggest regret and your favorite move. You can do both.
I
back to
got
back.
one. I got a biggest regret. So it was week 1 last year, and picked up Kyle Phillips. He popped off week 1. I think he had like 9 targets for like 6 catches, 50-something yards, and I was like, oh, rookie receiver, doing pretty good. And then Jai the Poacher came to me and offered me Alexander Madison for Kyle Phillips. I was just like, oh man, some value, but I'm like, I don't know if I can live with myself if Phillips has an insane rookie year, and Jai just poached him from me. So I hit decline, and now Madison is going for seconds and 201s, and so that's my biggest regret is not accepting that trade.
I think my biggest regret has to do with Deshaun. It's because I
Of
was
course.
too tunneled on Deshaun in the draft, and I really should have went for value on quarterbacks because they were going for so cheap. I should have tried to get Tua or Trevor Lawrence or just any of the Jalen Hurts, any of the quarterbacks that are going for pennies. I was blinded by Deshaun, so that's my
that's
biggest
nasty.
regret.
Nasty. It's nasty.
For me, it's pretty clear. It was trading for Leonard Fournette with a certain Kelp.
The true swindler.
No.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I got Elijah Mitchell out of that trade, so like I'm getting him is something that I wanted, but Fournette, I think I valued him more than I should have, and
Some
so
might
that would
say.
definitely. And now I don't know what to do with him.
I mean, I valued him high, really high at the beginning of the year, and I traded Tyreek Hill for him. So I think Leonard
fire
Fournette
for Burg.
has burned two people.
Nice trade, Burg.
Yeah, that would be my favorite trade I made. Was getting Tyreek.
That might be my biggest regret. I mean, it's hard not for me to regret the CeeDee Lamb trade as my number one.
Who? Who?
What trade?
What
trade?
Just losing a top 4 receiver, not for nothing.
Or Peanuts.
The peanuts all converted into good things. The peanuts got
That's
put
true.
to use, but they were peanuts.
Buzz has a way of developing a package that once you see that package, you're like, that's a bunch of goodies in that package.
It
I was-
those goodies.
It was good
Berg's
from
the only
afar.
one who can resist the package. I've tried, and Berg sniffs out those packages so fast.
The
It was
goodies
a-
is
it
what
was
they're
a-
garbage.
It was a happy meal. The toy was broken. The
Because
fries
when
were
you-
cold.
When you inspect those goodies close up, it's just garbage. And he's coming for your prize.
Yeah.
Yes.
I said goodbye to CeeDee Lamb. All right.
Alec Pierce, though.
Berg, you got a regret?
I mean, only recently. I can only think of recently. I can't think of all of last year off the top of my head. But my team has a lot of questionable players: Kamara, Tyreek, and most recently Joe Mixon.
You want to trade for Deshaun?
That's a controversial team.
Anyways, I traded away Mixon just because I was kind of just done with him, as a player. For Brian Robinson, but it's not regrettable yet because the season hasn't started. But there's still that world where Mixon just pops off this year.
Yeah.
But he won't.
I was just kind of over him. So I'm like, I'll just get rid of him.
I forgot.
We all know the truth. He won't.
Bobby hates
Hates
Joe.
Mixon.
You made the best decision you could have ever made, other than not drafting him in the first
I either
place.
made the best decision I ever made or the worst decision I ever made.
I just drafted Joe Mixon today in best ball.
How do you feel?
I'm going for the upside because Joe Mixon's the kind of running back who can put up 55 points in a game and then put up 8 points in the next.
Yeah, and looking at it, you got him in the 4th, so I mean,
I did.
You didn't get him that early, so it was a nice pick for you.
Mhm.
I'd rather have Dobbins or Sanders than Mixon, but I do like Mixon.
Yeah.
I
I would rather have them in a regular, like a redraft or dynasty, but
Yeah, true. In a best, it's
in a
different.
best ball, Mixon is a
Yeah.
little higher for me.
True. I'm surprised Bobby didn't give you the worst team because he drafted Joe.
It was.
True.
I didn't want to say it, but
I mean, I slandered your team.
I mean, you have Mike Evans on your team, so you got and A-Chain. Like you got some
Yeah.
pretty good players on there.
Oh yeah.
You got Bobby players.
You have a few of the
Yes.
players that I wanted, so Just because you
Uh,
have one anchor doesn't make the whole team bad.
That's fair.
But
It's
you
a
won't
heavy
win.
anchor. It's a
But you
boat
won't win
anchor.
because you have such a heavy anchor. It's impossible.
I accept my fate.
As you should. Right. Favorite dynasty move, right?
We're
Favorite move.
moving on.
Has everyone given their least favorite move? Or their biggest
I
regret?
think so.
Yeah.
Believe so.
My favorite dynasty move, getting Danny Dimes off the waivers week 1.
That was clean.
That's,
Oh,
that's so good.
Saved my team because I
how
drafted
did that
like
even
a
happen?
I think Tim donated him to the waivers.
Oh man.
Tim saw
Yeah.
enough of Danny Dimes' little potato face, and after 2 days, and he dropped him.
It was wasn't it week 1 or was it before?
I think it was before he played a snap.
Oh wow.
Dropped. And then Dimes carried me because Kyler stinks, and yeah, it's kind of just Kyler stinks. So Jones saved my season, and I also like trading for Elijah Moore because I want him to pop off and for Kelp to regret it.
That'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
Another
And
Kelp
I'm an
misplay.
original believer of Elijah Moore. I just have to hope he tanks. I don't
But-
like it.
But it was a fair trade because I think Hopkins is gonna be insane this year. So
I don't regret the move.
I think my favorite dynasty move was the 104 trade for the 105 and 106. I had some negotiations with Kelp.
That was a nice
Um,
one, yeah.
I made a statement like double or nothing. He wasn't really wanting to give me both first, but I wanted both first, and ended up making a deal.
oh yeah,
I kept going back and forth between Addison and Flowers because I'm higher on Flowers than most, and I look at them pretty close, but I ended up going with Addison in my mind, like slightly higher than Flowers going into the draft day, and I discussed it with Kelp, and we made the trade. So I feel like it's a win for me. Like currently, obviously, it could be a big fail if Addison's good and Flowers isn't. But I like it a lot, and then I really wanted Anthony Richardson as well. It's maybe a little of a bummer that we're not going to do a super flex in the near future, but maybe we will down the line, and if Anthony Richardson turns out to be good, it will potentially further help my team. So I like the potential for Anthony Richardson, most athletic quarterback tested, and I think he's got some, based on what I've seen, he's got some strong fundamentals and like awareness and such, and a lot of his shortcomings I believe are coachable, so that is why I'm high on him. And I like that trade, the 104 for the 5 and 6. There were some other details in there too that I don't recall at the moment, but yeah, it was a spicy trade.
That's
So
funny.
for me,
Go ahead,
oh.
Kat.
So for me, through this year, I had to make some trades to kind of stabilize my roster because the auction draft that we did to draft our teams was a little rough.
Did you
So,
do any mocks? You do any mocks, Bobby?
I did a couple, but they did not help.
Sure.
But I think for me, the trade that I made with Jai to get that end of the first, beginning of the second next year, the 5th for my first, and the trade I made with Kelp I gave him my first and a 4th round for Singletary to even more running back depth. 2 seconds, a 3rd, and a 5th, and one of those seconds ended up being Bryce Young, my franchise quarterback. So I think that being able to move back up there, get some key players that are going to be foundational for my team, and adding even more picks that will help set more foundations for my team. Even though I'm giving up my first, I believe my team is going to make the playoffs this year and next year and just do pretty well. So was my
Win it
favorite
all
move.
back to back.
Yeah. And then Kelp and Jai will be real upset with their picks once the 112.
Ah,
Oh, they'll eat it. They'll suck it.
it's funny. My favorite move is also the move I made with Cly. I don't know that it'll go my way, but I do still really like the trade. Alright, crickets from Burg. I hard disagree because I valued Addison a lot higher than Flowers and Quentin Johnston, and I didn't really have Anthony Richardson on my radar. I didn't really want to get a QB. Yeah, I think Quentin Johnston won't amount to as much as people think. And Zay Flowers, he's small, he's talented, but I really liked Addison. And then I was able to turn the first from Cly into Christian Kirk, which I liked. And then, of course, I turned the other piece into Cat's first, which I liked. So that's why it was also my favorite move.
Nice. I mean, one of us is gonna like it more than the other in
Yeah,
the future.
that'll really go either way. Time will
Yeah.
tell.
What about Burg?
I think most recently, one of my favorite trades was getting Devontae Adams from Bakes. That was just a real hype moment for me.
What
'Cause, Adams was on a tear once he came on my team.
what did you trade him for?
It was just like a late first and a fourth. So it was kind of. It was pretty
Oh,
That's
What
the
about that?
value.
What about that Josh Jacobs trade?
Oh my gosh.
I want to hear Kelp's thoughts on the Josh Jacobs.
If I would have known Josh Jacobs was on the table, I thought that Tim naming Josh Jacobs Absolute Savage as his nickname kind of meant he was off limits.
All of Tim's players are on the table. That's what you need to know.
I just assumed.
Exactly.
Come
that's
on,
my
go.
own
Never
It's
fault.
assume.
a pawn shop. You go in there, barter for anything you want.
It's a
I
punch.
would slightly disagree, as I've had many negotiations with Tim. Tim has a player on the trade block. I'm not going to say which player, but he has a player on the block that I've tried to trade for, and he doesn't seem to want to trade for him. And then,
You're not speaking
Who,
his
who does
language.
Kelp? Who does Cloud want to type? Is that Pickens?
and then also, I tried. Look, I tried to make a trade for Tank Dell for him, and he is never parting with Tank Dell. At
What did
least
you offer? A fourth? Did you offer a fourth?
I don't remember what I had offered. I could look it up. Let me see.
But as soon as a player looks at Tim the wrong way, he's getting traded.
Oh,
So just wait for that moment. And then,
One bad look and he's gone.
You know, like Darnell Mooney. I was
Mm,
very happy to get him for pennies.
All right. It was a swap of some It was 2/3. Two of his thirds, two of my thirds. Well, not my some different people's thirds, but a swap of thirds. DJ Chark, and then for Tank Dell. So essentially Chark for Dell with some third round shenanigans going on.
Did the third round shenanigans favor you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to get value. I thought it was decently fair. I'm trying to offer fair trades in general. I'm not.
No, I was just
Trying to-
curious. I was curious.
Yeah.
Mikey no likey. That's what Fuzz was
Alright.
thinking.
I mean, he seemed decently high on Chark, and I think that Chark he's shown in the past to be a pretty solid player, and depending on the future chemistry with Bryce Young, he could end up being a better, higher rated player than he is currently. So it's all about just what, how much does each player value a certain player. Like with Addison and Flowers, I value them pretty similarly, while Kelp doesn't. So everybody values players differently. So you just gotta. It's about finding who values who highly, and then making the best value trade.
Oh yeah.
Everyone has their
Yeah,
weakness.
shout out to Gabe Davis.
Davis and Clyde will always be my weaknesses.
Well, that about wraps it up. Unless anyone has any closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts that you'll slander Bobby's team, but when he wins 3 years in a row, I'll remember this podcast.
I will as
If
well.
Cat wins 2 years in a row, I'll never slander his team again.
I mean,
We've
I
got it
got
on
Kirk
record.
Cousins leading the charge, and that trade was amazing.
What trade?
The one with me, you, and who else was in that trade?
Tim.
Where I got Kirk Cousins trade Debo.
Kirk is fire.
Yeah.
QB6 last year. Probably gonna be
How about-
QB5 or 4.
How about one final question?
Oh,
Let's hear it.
What's a player you wish you could trade for? Any player.
Ooh.
Assume like the trade is like pretty balanced. What's a player
Mhm.
you wish you could target?
I have so many. Kelp's team. All the Kelp's
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, it's a poacher. I'm constantly being hunted. Dodging bad trades left and right.
No, it's not bad trades.
I'd
They're
probably
not bad
go.
trades.
I'd probably go Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase,
Oh.
or JSN. JSN for more future. I think he's going to be really good, but I think Bakes has him unlocked. But JJ or Chase, when I went into the draft, those were 2 of the 3 players I was trying to go after, but they went a little bit too pricey for me. So
Interesting.
For me, it might be 2 Bobcat players, McCaffrey and AJ Brown.
the 2 that will never be traded.
The 2 that will never be traded.
Yeah, AJ
The
Brown
only
is
ones.
The
hype.
coveted.
Trying to think of everyone's.
I got mine. I'd have to pay too much, and we all know trading with Zane is very difficult. But it's Chris Olave.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah,
That's all I'll send you. You're trying to get into Fort Knox.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know. But if there was one player I wish I drafted or could have, it'd be Chris Olave.
I think I bid up Olave a little bit, but I didn't spend too much. I think he went for 12.
I think for me it would be I like London a lot, but that's just RIP. He ain't going anywhere. I also like Ayuk a lot. I'm super high on Ayuk.
Ayuk is solid. Didn't you get him in the best ball?
I got him in the
Yeah,
best
you did.
ball. I also like
6'10".
Jahan. I also like Jahan Dotson a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the one for me is Jahan Dotson.
Oh,
Oh, there might
You
be
know,
a first
I-
coming your way.
I've already shipped
may have
off Sky
tried.
Moore and Christian Watson and Traylon Burks. This could be terrible for me if they all turn out to be super studs.
Clyde's the
But I'm-
salesman.
Oh, but you can't resist
He
those
is.
spicy first.
Firsts are they're just so tempting.
A Bobby first. Oh,
Are
I
there
still have
any
my
I
others?
might lose my
2026
mind.
first.
oh.
Whoa.
That's a spicy.
That might be a
spicy
101. Too far.
Oh,
Alright, we'll end the episode
Oh,
there.
God.
Thanks for listening.
Oh yeah.